Hey, my name's Kevin, and today I will be showing you how to subtract rational expressions and also find the restrictions of those rational expressions. So to start off, you're going to have to take your basic equation. So for today, our equation is 2 divided by a squared plus 6a minus 16 subtracted by 1 divided by a squared plus 11a plus 24. Now that we have our equation, we have to just basically know what we're working with. So, in the numerator, we can see that it just consisted of simple coefficients 2 and 1. And in the denominator, it just consisted of rational expressions, just a trinomial right here and a trinomial right here. So, our first step that we're going to have to do is we're going to have to factor. And we have to factor these because in order to subtract them, you have to have the lowest common denominator. And to find the lowest common denominator of these two, we have to factor them. So the factored form of a squared plus 6a minus 16 is a plus 8 and a minus 2. Now that we have that factor, we can move on to the second one. Now for this factored form, a squared plus 11a plus 24, the factors are a plus 8 and a plus 3. So once we have those figured out, we can now start just trying to find the lowest common denominator. Now in this equation, we can see that there's an a plus 8 on this side and also an a plus 8 on this side. So that's good. But once we move to the second one, we can see that the a minus 2 and the a plus 3 don't match up. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to multiply by 1 to make the lowest common denominator equal. So for step 2, we're going to have to find the lowest common denominator. Now if we look at these two, we can see that this side is missing an a plus 3 and that this side is missing an a minus 2. So what we're going to do for this side is we're going to multiply this by a plus 3 over a plus 3. To make this one the lowest common denominator. And we have to do the same for the other side. But for this one, we have to add an a minus 2 to make it the lowest common denominator over a minus 2. Now we can do this because if you divide this out, it's equal to 1. And if you divide this out, it's equal to 1. So it doesn't really even affect your answer at all. So now that we have the lowest common denominator, we can now start subtracting these. So let's just clean it up really quickly. So now that we have that, we can finally start solving. So what we're going to do is now we're going to distribute the 2 into the a plus 3 and the negative 1 into the a into the negative 2. Don't forget to factor in the negative. That's like a really common mistake. So now what we're going to do is 2 times a is 2a. 2 times 3 is 6. Negative 1 times a is negative a, and negative 1 times negative 2 is 2. And we're going to put it all over our lowest common denominator. Alright, now once we have that, we just combine our like terms here and here. So 2a minus a is a, and 6 plus 2 is 8. And then it's always over our lowest common denominator. Now that we have it all factored out, we can start taking out the ones. Since this is our only numerator, we have to find something that matches in the denominator. A plus 8, there's an a plus 8 in the denominator, so we can eliminate the ones. And what we are left with is 1 over a minus 2 and a plus 3. But we're not done yet. What we have to do now is find the restrictions. A restriction is just basically the number that makes the denominator 0. And if your denominator is 0, you can't factor or solve the equation at all. So, to find the restrictions, we're going to go back to our factored area right here. And now to find the restrictions, we take these simple equations and make them equal to 0. So a plus 8 is equal to 0, a minus 2 is equal to 0, and a plus 3 is equal to 0. Now that we have those three written out, we can start solving. So for the first one, we're just going to subtract 8 on both sides, and that gives us that 8 cannot equal to negative 8. A cannot equal to negative 8. For the second one, we're going to add 2 to both sides, and we get that a cannot equal positive 2. And for the third one, we're just going to subtract 3 from both sides and make it so that a cannot be equal to negative 3. So once we found our restrictions, we're basically done. So we're just going to rewrite those down here so that a cannot equal negative 3, 2, and negative 8. That's all you need for subtracting rational expressions. Thank you for watching.